1 bombs away. One's going to climb high above 20. East south.
Eagle 6 radar contact. Eagle 6 is visual.
Planet goes left.
Hello and welcome back to the DCS SITREP, the news show on all things DCS World, which is the world's premier combat flight simulator for the home PC. It's brought to you by Eagle Dynamics with its third-party affiliates, and I'm your host, Prickly Hedgehog. It's good to be back after a break last week. A little bit of family stuff to take care of. Unfortunately, that meant I missed bringing you the Chinook launch, which if you missed it, it is currently available on sale right now in the eStore, and with an in-game release in June of this year. The 26th is the scheduled date. We'll revisit that topic in just a little bit here, because today marks another announcement regarding releases, and that's the announcement of the pending early access release of the Kola map. That date is set for May 3rd, so let's look at what Orbix, the map's developer, has said about this exciting new map. It will be based on the current day with allowances for Cold War scenarios. The map covers more than 575,000 square kilometers of land and large areas of both the Barents and Norwegian seas. The early access release will feature summer textures initially, with the highest detail area stretching along the Russian-Finnish border, unsurprisingly, from the Murmansk region of the Kola Peninsula in the north to the shores of the Baltic Sea in the south. This area is home to the Russian Northern Fleet, the submarine pens of Polnyani, also strategic air bases such as Severomorsk and Olegnogorsk, and several Finnish, Swedish, and Norwegian air bases and road runways. Yep, you heard it there, road runways. So Orbix are delighted to collaborate with experienced campaign creators Baltic Dragon and Reflected Simulations to bring exciting campaigns to this map as well. So we'll have to wait a little bit more here for information on where those guys are up to, because remember that Baltic particularly has been busy with his Gamblers campaign, and I know Reflected is working on things, and of course with campaign development also comes constant updates and corrections to existing campaigns. So both of those gents are very, very busy people. We'll come back to Baltic in just a second here. Now, following the early access release, Orbix are going to deliver major updates starting in June of 2024. This includes winter textures, which being a Northern Hemisphere area of operations, this was a big ask from the community to have the winter textures, and I think that's going to be a feature of the campaigns for Baltic and Reflected as far as I'm aware, but we'll have to wait and see on the final details of that. They're also going to add additional air bases such as, and I'm probably going to butcher some of these, Andoya, Bardufoss, Ibanez, and Vidsel, Kilpjevar, and Alkurti, I think, are the others that they're going to add there, and others, that they're going to add there. Many military installations and training areas across the Kola map will also be further developed, with improvements added to terrain detail based on high-resolution aerial ortho imagery, new cities and towns, more custom POIs, and vertical obstructions and complex industrial sites will also be added in the future as well. So really exciting stuff there. So the team advised that they recruited a large team of active DCS players to help with all aspects of testing, optimization, and prioritization to help tune and improve the map, something that I can testify to. It's been amazing the amount of work that has gone into fine-tuning it, and the tenacity of the people involved, and also their eagle eyes to pick out these little bits and pieces and inconsistencies in the map. Again, considering it's 575,000 square kilometers, it's no mean feat to iron out a lot of these bugs. Now, Orbix needs no introduction to flight sim fans, but if you are unfamiliar, they have a bank of impressive work in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and it's testament to their skills in this area. It's extremely pleasing to have the team on board for DCS World, and I know a lot of you were excited about their coming to the game. They've been extremely busy working on improvements over the last several months, as I've indicated, thanks to a lot of feedback from those testers. And this, I think, will be a popular map, especially once the campaign from Baltic and Reflected comes online as well. It'll give another incentive to be flying around that. But it's going to be a fun place to explore and dream up scenarios. I think it'll be a popular server map as well. It's not a huge map, so you can get around pretty easily, and that's ideal for people looking for airspace contests and things like that. But it also is quite picturesque too, so there's fun places to fly around in the mountains and the canyons and across the shoreline. So lots to look at, lots to be excited about. Hopefully we can bring you some more screenshots and things in the near future here. So again, this will embellish playability for those looking for some scripted missions in terms of the campaign that Baltic and Reflected are working on. And again, it's going to be an exciting place to tackle conflict with this particular map. Now, as I mentioned Baltic before, remember too, he is also working on, or has basically completed, another campaign. It's going to be released in May as well. That's the Gamblers campaign. It is going to be F-16 based. It is not, unfortunately, on the Kola map, but it is set in Syria, which is another great map. And as I said, it's going to be scheduled for that May release. It has as a feature John Rain Waters, who is a former combat and F-16 demo pilot. If you haven't checked out the Afterburn podcast, he heads that up with some current and former flyers and has many guests. Great podcast. So John Rain Waters has lent his expertise and experiences to the development of this campaign. So again, expected to be top notch, as it always is from Baltic. As for the Kola and the campaign that Baltic and Reflected are working on, well, we're going to have to wait and see if they can release a little bit more information on that progress. I haven't reached out to them directly on that, but again, both of these guys cooperating on a campaign set in that area of the world is going to be top-notch content, again on a very cool map. So we've got a lot to look forward to from both of these guys and Orbix with the ongoing development of the Kola. So plenty of things to keep us busy with if we have time over the summer months. For those of you that maybe are students and get summers off and stuff, your summer months are going to be filled with DCS if that's what you want to do.
Little left.
Contact. You're taking fuel.
Nice, that's gonna quench her thirst.
Now, in other news this week, we learned that ED are set to inject new aircraft into the stable of simplified versions of popular aircraft running in Flaming Cliffs 3, that module. That is a separate module that is purchasable as a bundle, or you can also purchase individual modules as well. Now, according to the newsletter, they said that coming soon, Flaming Cliffs 2024 is the next chapter of the popular Flaming Cliffs series that features an expanded list of aircraft. So they're going to include the F-5E, the F-86, and the MiG-15 BIS. As with all Flaming Cliffs aircraft, these additions are easy to learn with less complex controls and includes their DCS professional flight models. The more accessible Flaming Cliffs style concept allows new and existing players to quickly jump into the action and have fun at an exceptionally advantageous price point. Yeah, they're quite a bit cheaper than the full fidelity modules that we're comparing some of these aircraft to. Now, it provides an unrivaled sense of flight only found in DCS, with impressive and highly realistic 3D modeling, powerful authentic weapons, and ease of use. Flaming Cliffs is specifically designed for those of you who are looking for an unbeatable combat experience without having that really steep learning curve that is found with the systems and the large number of cockpit inputs that are typically around use of the full fidelity aircraft in DCS world. So I always consider it a little bit of a gateway into full fidelity modules too, once you feel you've had enough of that experience and you're looking for a little bit more. So the existing aircraft are as follows: the F-15C, A-10A, Su-27, the J-11, Su-33, Su-25, MiG-29, and MiG-29S. Remember that we currently have a full fidelity version of the A10 and we are going to get a full fidelity version of the MiG-29, and these will, as I said, be really good additions for those who are looking to step up after a point, but this is as I said, a great gateway into the game. So they're adding, as I said before, the F-5E, the F-86, and the MiG-15, and remember these aircraft are available, at least the F-5E and the F-86 are available as full fidelity aircraft as well. So if you want to dabble in that non-full fidelity experience, just get used to the aircraft and stuff like that, and then maybe branching out to the full Monty version, this is a good place to start. So all aircraft will be available both as part of the Flaming Cliffs 2024 bundle, if you like, as well as being able to be purchased as individual dedicated modules if you want to purchase them as a single fighter from the pack. As I've already said, this is a fun way to get a lot of aircraft in the game without breaking the bank, but also ideal for new players or those looking for less intensity and time investment that the Full Fidelity offers you. I spent a lot of time in the Su-27, for example. It's one of my favorite planes. It's very visceral and aggressive looking. If it was a competition on looks alone, I think it's definitely one of the best looking aircraft in the game. Yeah, we'd all love to see it as a Full Fidelity option in the future, but the publicly accessible data just isn't there right now for them to be able to do that. So alas, it lives in the Flaming Cliffs world. But again, it's a fun aircraft to get to grips with. It's pretty maneuverable. So yeah, really cool to see some expansion there. And now quickly, it was pointed out by community members that this seems to indicate the death knell of MAC, or modern air combat. And this was touted several years ago as, I guess, a more arcade version of the game, providing again this more casual experience to flight and combat. Similar to some other game called War Thunder. And according to the post though, and some references to statements made from WAGs, basically it looks like MAC has been sidelined as a project by ED for now, as they don't believe generating a separate product from the DCS core game is in their best interest. So the compromise then is in securing interest from new players is expanding the list of popular aircraft in the more accessible format under Flaming Cliffs 3. So they already have something that mimics MAC, so they just didn't feel, it seems, that it was worth going into creating a separate product. And in some ways I think that makes sense. Some people will disagree, obviously, and will question that decision. But I also think ED has a lot going on right now in terms of the number of projects that it's working on, particularly with the dynamic campaign, which we're waiting for. As I was scrolling through some of the comments in the latest Chinook video, 9line mentioned that we're going to see some more news on that development here soon, hopefully. So yeah, they've got a lot of work going on, and they also have the Vulcan stuff that they're implementing, as well as managing a lot of other modules that are coming into the game right now. So there's a bit of a transition period, I think, that's happening with ED right now, as the game kind of, rather laboriously changes from what it was a couple of years ago with the game engine, and now with multi-threading and the Vulcan work that they're doing, it's sort of, having a rather difficult birth into something that should bring it up to the 21st century. And it definitely is an older game engine, and they're definitely struggling, I think, with bringing it up to speed, but it's coming. You can just feel the improvements that we've seen, as I said, with the multi-threading, the visual effects that we're getting, the very sophisticated aircraft that we're seeing in the game, and the complexity involved with that, and the modeling of that. The high fidelity stuff is pretty intense. So, bear with me. I think there's more to come with this game than we're currently enjoying, and I think it's going to get even better in the near future. What that means exactly in terms of timeline is difficult to say, but I think these are a lot of birthing pains right now with the way in which the game is evolving, and just because they're transitioning from almost like two eras, really. 15 years of DCS, and it's come a heck of a long way, but I think we're on the cusp of some very, very exciting developments. I'm hearing stuff about the supercarrier maybe getting a big overhaul coming up in the grapevine here, so that's going to be exciting, plus all these new aircraft as well. So let's talk about new aircraft, because we said we'd come back to the Chinook, and I think that's worth talking about.
Strike, Raven 402 up for checks, freelance with 405.
Roger, Raven 402. Radar contact, clear Cleveland.
Raven 402.
The Boeing CH-47F Chinook, fondly referred to as the Hook by US military personnel, stands today as the premier multi-mission rotary wing aircraft in use with the US Army, US Army Reserve, National Guard, and 20 other nations, including Canada, the United Kingdom, Netherlands, Japan, Italy, Greece, Spain, South Korea, Australia, Turkey, India, and the United Arab Emirates. Embodying a unique tandem rotor design, this massive helicopter excels in all its roles, including cargo and troop transportation, sling load operations, search and rescue, casualty evacuation, special operations, and humanitarian assistance in disaster scenarios. A very versatile helicopter, able to carry very, very large payloads. So there's going to be a lot of scope on that basis for some very, very different mission sets than we currently have, although similar. This is going to be a lot more cargo hauling than we currently have in game right now, even with the Mi-8, which is a big helicopter, there's no question about that, but the Chinook dwarfs that in payload. Now, engineered for exceptional stability and control, the CH-47F twin-engine tandem rotor configuration ensures maximum agility and facilitates straightforward loading and unloading procedures. This design uniquely positions the Hook for operation in environments inaccessible to others. The absence of tail rotor interference permits rear ramp access on varied terrains, including unprepared or mountainous locations, capitalizing on its remarkable landing capability. Furthermore, the aircraft's design facilitates high altitude flight of up to 20,000 feet, surpassing other helicopters in its weight category. So perfect, in other words, for, you guessed it, Afghanistan. The CH-47F is equipped with a state-of-the-art, fully integrated digital cockpit management system, the Common Avionics Architecture System, or CAS, cockpit in synergy with a digital automatic flight control system, or DAFCS. These advanced systems enhance cargo handling efficiency while significantly boosting mission performance and all-weather situational awareness. The Chinook also offers side and rear door gunner positions, a radar warning receiver with chaff and flare dispensers for auto protection. With the capability to cover extensive distances swiftly, the CH-47F can be outfitted with extended range fuel tanks and is compatible with air-to-air refueling, thus extending its operational range further than ever before. This capability underscores the aircraft's adaptability and endurance, making it a formidable asset in any fleet. Now, if you're wondering about whether or not we're going to get air-to-air refueling, Nineline said in the comments of the release video that is something the designer of the aircraft in-game wants. So it's possible we will see that in the future. When that is, I don't know, but again, an exciting prospect to do that kind of thing. We have seen it with the Black Hawk mod that you can do air-to-air refueling. So this is an exciting prospect. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. So for those of you that love refueling, this will be good news. For those of you who despise aerial refueling, well, you can just close your eyes and scream in terror. All right, now in total, some 1,200 plus CH-47 helicopters of all variants were delivered. This icon of a war machine saw combat service in all the major theaters since its inception, notably Vietnam, Iran, Libya, the Falklands, the Balkans, Iraq, and Afghanistan. I think, was it Prince William that got in trouble? I think after he proposed to Kate or something, I think he landed a Chinook in the backyard where she was living or something crazy like that, which wasn't scheduled as a flight op. But anyway, so a very, very capable aircraft able to pick up princesses. So here we go. Some of the capabilities and design of this unique helicopter. Firstly, the big feature is the tandem rotor design. I'm very fascinated about this and how they were able to implement this in DCS World. It features a distinctive tandem rotor system with two counter-rotating rotors. This design provides exceptional handling qualities and allows for a large lift capacity, which is crucial for carrying heavy payloads. The absence of that tail rotor also enhances the safety in confined areas and simplifies maintenance, offering unhindered rear cargo and troop loading in addition to side door access. Now, as we've said, it's a powerful machine and it's powered by two Honeywell T55GA 714A engines, which offer impressive power and performance. These engines deliver up to just over 4,800 shaft horsepower combined, enabling the aircraft to reach speeds of over 175 miles per hour, or 282 km for those of you in the metric system, with a payload of 9,500 kgs or 21,000 pounds for the Imperialists. Now, cargo handling and versatility. The Chinook has a very large cargo hold that can accommodate a wide variety of loads, from standard palletized goods to vehicles and artillery, as well as the fuel cells for fat cow operations. Its rear loading ramp and 3 external cargo hooks provide multiple options for loading and unloading, facilitating efficient logistics operations under diverse conditions. Somebody again in the comments section of the release video asked about whether or not we only saw the single hook, I think, and whether or not we would see the 3 hook operations for sling loading. That is intended if they can do it. There's no intention not to do that, so we'll have to wait and see according to, once again, 9line. So stay tuned for more on that. And now, advanced avionics and systems. So it has a glass cockpit. It's equipped with advanced avionics, including a Rockwell Collins Common Avionics Architecture System, or the CAS. The cockpit BAE systems, digital advanced flight control systems we mentioned before, night vision compatible displays, and modern navigational systems. These enhancements improve situational awareness and flight safety, particularly in challenging environments. So really cool. Once again, challenging environments include Afghanistan, which we saw plenty of, so it's going to be a fun place to fly that thing. Gosh, I can't wait to see that map. Okay, crew capacity and configuration here. Typically operated by a crew of 3, so that includes 2 pilots up front and a flight engineer, so a lot of crew coordination going on there. It can also carry up to 3 gunners as well. I think 2 side gunners and 1 in the rear. As well as that, we have the enhanced survivability, so the advanced countermeasures suite, which includes radar warning receivers and infrared countermeasures. It's a rugged airframe, and systems redundancy are designed to withstand significant damage. It is an essential component of any military or humanitarian fleet, capable of performing in the most demanding situations. Its enduring design and continual updates ensure that it will remain a key player in aviation for years to come. So, all good, very exciting stuff. What are we going to get in the early access form of our DCS version? Well, the teams say it's going to be highly detailed external and internal modeling, including cockpit and cargo hold. No surprises there, though I am excited about the cargo hold. They are fleshing that out as well. Unmatched helicopter flight dynamics that only DCS can provide. And somebody actually asked whether or not ED would talk to the designers of the aircraft and talk about how they morph flight performance data into an embodiment of the aircraft. I think that would be an interesting interview. We should get WAGs together maybe and with some of those guys and talk about that stuff. That'd be fun. Maybe I can reach out to WAGs and see if we can facilitate that with 9line or something. But anyway, be fun. Fully interactive VR-ready cockpit. Nice. Okay, so the VR fans, I didn't notice that before, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. 4 sets of features will be announced prior to early access, and you can, as I said before, pre-purchase yours today at a 30% off discount. Don't miss out. This will only last until launch, so you've got about a month. Actually, 2 months, excuse me. Let's do the math correctly here. So don't miss out. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. I know some people like to wait and see. I don't want to buy it because, it's probably going to suck, or, I've been let down in the past, blah, blah, blah. But, a good way of supporting the team is by picking up these discounts. The sales and volume is obviously very beneficial to the company, and the work that they're doing is I think overall headed in the right direction. Although we get some complaints and some hiccups along the line, I think this is a very, very exciting product. Plus it's just under $50, $49, $48.99. If you have some miles, you can also knock a few bucks off that price, which is what I did. This will be, I think, a very popular module. I suspect it's going to pull in players who enjoy hauling cargo. In fact, I know it will pull in players who enjoy hauling cargo over distance, similar to what we'll see with the C-130. I think that also will have appeal to those operators. This could well also drag in quite a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator players who enjoy long-haul flights and are looking for a more authentic military combat experience, which Microsoft does not offer right now. And that larger player base, if it expands, is only going to better and improve the DCS community experience, I think. Now, aside from the Chinook's arrival, there was plenty to drink in watching the promotional video. It seemed to me that there were plenty of shots of the Afghanistan map, which I'm, again, really excited to fly this helicopter through some of those canyons, which Casmo said is like, the Star Wars canyons. So that's set for release in June, as I said, as a Part 1 iteration. And some eagle-eye viewers also picked out things like new troop animations showcased in the video, as well as some new map hints. And one of those was the folder gap, a folder look, I think it That's how you say it in German. This strategic gap was seen as a possible invasion route for Soviet forces during the Cold War from the border of East and West Germany, as it was the shortest route to the Rhine River via the city of Fulda. Now, if some sort of German map manifests itself in the game, which happens to coincide with the MiG-29, I think there's going to be some very happy customers out there, because people have asked me every time I bring up, the so-called desert maps. People are like, well, when are we going to get a non-desert map? ED's being lazy. We need more of these, European theater maps. So there's a hint there, and possibly confirmed by 9line with a little bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more, that we're going to get a European theater map. And I had said recently, we all know that they want to do Vietnam. There was talk possibly of Korea. So this was a bit of a surprise to me, as I didn't think they were going to do much in Europe. And a lot of people have asked that for the World War II portion of the game as well. If they launch that map with, and I'm talking about the German/European expansion map here, with a campaign that includes the MiG-29, so you get the map, you get the MiG-29. That's a pretty interesting trifecta, right? Campaign map and MiG-29. It's early days yet on that front, so we'll have to wait and see if they come up with more definitive answers. Aside from that possibility, again, I was really impressed with the images of Afghanistan. Can't wait to combine some flying in that area. And then, of course, we've got Iraq coming as well. So this is going to be a very useful piece of equipment in conjunction, as I said, with that C-130 for those that are looking for sort of combat missions that don't involve shooting things down. I'm very, very excited. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Knock it off, knock it off. Raven 4-1, knock it off.
Raven 4-2, knock it off.
Raven 4-1 is continuing north, flip to TAPSAT.
Raven 4-2, tapping south.
Alright, well, the last portion of this week's video is centered on actually VR. So many of you will be aware that Pimax announced some new products coming this year and next. And one of those products was an even better version of the Crystal headset that they have right now. I think it's the Super, so even more resolution, improved performance, able to not be tethered to the computer, these kinds of things. And I'll get into this in a separate video, I think. But they also really cleverly announced, and excitingly, they have produced a basically stripped down version of the Pimax Crystal. It's known as the Crystal Lite. So as I said, in simple terms, it's a bare bones version of the highly popular Crystal VR HMD. Now, the Lite will still give you the high quality, the high resolution VR experience, but for about half the price of the regular Crystal system. So the team has asked me to plug their survey to garner some feedback on this budget-friendlier option. I'll post a link into the description below if you're interested in taking that survey and just giving some feedback about whether or not that would be something that you would be interested in. I'm actually very interested in the bigger version, if you like, the Super myself, just to see what kind of performance it offers and how it would interact with DCS World. Is it going to be able to be run on a 4080 card, or am I going to need a 4090 card with a even beefier CPU? I don't know. So those are questions I'm also interested in, but I'm definitely excited that they are offering a cheaper version of a very, very impressive headset for those that feel like they might be a little bit priced out in the marketplace. So you don't get necessarily the handsets and all the rest of it. They have modified the headset in a way that reduces some of the fluff that is inherent, if you like, in the Crystal, which is a very good headset. I'm not suggesting that fluff, I mean just some of the extra bits and pieces, such as the battery and all the rest of it. They've reduced the weight of it, and they've just made it a lot more accessible to those on a smaller budget. I'm going to dig into that topic in a little bit more detail coming up here if time allows. I'm very excited about the Pimax Super, like I said, and the tech going into it. And I truly believe that VR is the way to enjoy DCS World in the future as this technology continues, especially if we were able to have mixed reality, which they have indicated. We are sitting pretty close to some really exciting things you can do with DCS World and truly get that flight experience that is limited by 2D experiences. So again, I'll plug that link in the description below if you want to take that survey and give Pimax some feedback about whether or not a cheaper version of a Crystal is your bag, baby. We'll go from there. Well, that'll do for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in again and supporting the channel. The likes, the comments, and the subscriptions are so important to keep this little channel chugging along. We have breached 11,000 subscribers, which is good for somebody doing this in their spare time and on a personal budget. And thanks to Pimax for providing me with the VR experience. I don't have any official sponsors right now, but Pimax is as close as I get, and they have made DCS so much better for me. And if you're again looking to get that experience, check it out, because it is game changing for me, VR. Well, that'll do for this week. Don't forget, like I said, to like and subscribe, comment in the comment section below on any of the topics that we've discussed today, which includes the new map from Kola, the Pimax headset, of course, which we've just talked about, and most excitingly, the Chinook, which, yeah, really looking forward to. And maybe you want to speculate a little bit on the folder gap that I mentioned as well. So we've got a lot coming to DCS World over the next 12 to 24 months. So stay tuned to me and the DCS SITREP for in-depth news on our favorite combat flight simulator, DCS World. Cheers.
Miles, Raven 4-1, turning in as the
Raven 4-2, turning in as the fighter.
bogey steady.
Raven 4-2, single group, 360, 30 miles, 20,000, heading 180.
That's your bogey.